Hello, Amaret? Hello, Amaret?
Yes, hello.
Hi there.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi. Can you please test your microphone, please? Uh, if you could.
Check, check. One, two, three. Check, one, two, three.
Thank you so much. We can hear you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Check audio. Check one, two.
Hello, Cody? Hello, Cody? I just wanted to have Cody. Hello, Cody? Oh, he can. Oh, okay. So turn it on.
Counselor Fortini checking in.
Hi, Cody. Can you please test your microphone, please?
Sure. There we go. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Counselor Fortini checking in.
Counselor Fortini, we can hear you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Councilor Barr checking in.
Thank you, Counselor Bra. We can hear you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. This is Gurpratap checking in. Are you able to hear me?
Hi, Counselor Troy. Yes, we can hear you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Valerie.
Good evening, Councillor Santos checking in.
Councillor Santos, you're coming through clear, but you're a little, you sound far away. If you could talk just a little louder, please.
Testing 1, 2, 3, is that better?
Yes, thank you. Councillor Brar, can you please unmute your mic and test your audio for us?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, you're coming through clear. Councillor Paleshi, can you unmute your mic and test your audio?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, you're coming through clear, thank you. Councillor Keenan?
This is Councillor Palashi now.
Oh, thank you, Councillor Paleshi. Councillor Keenan?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, thank you. Councillor Tour?
Hi, good evening.
Thank you, you're coming through clear.
Call to order. Good evening and welcome to our meeting of Brampton's Planning and Development Committee. We will begin the meeting with calling the roll for attendance at tonight's meeting. To the clerk.
Through you, Chair. I have Regional Councillor Paleshi online. You're here in person. Regional Councillor Santos is online. Regional Councillor Vicente is with us here in person. Regional Councillor Brar is online. Regional Councillor Keenan is online. Regional Councillor Fortini is online. And Regional Councillor Tour is online. And City Councillor Power is here with us in chamber. So we are missing Councillor Medeiros at this point, unless I don't see him online at this point.
All right, thank you. We will move on to approval of the agenda. The agenda item for the Planning and Development Committee meeting of August 12th, 24. Do any members have anything they wish to add? Okay. I have two delegations to add, one regarding second entrances and one regarding Nawas Living, which will be items 6.5 and 6.6. Councillor Tour, I believe, has a correspondence to add.
Yes.
Yep. 11.2.2 and a discussion item 9.1. And staff has also asked to withdraw item 6.1 and item 7.5. Is there any other amendments to the agenda?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I just want to make sure that item 11.2.2 is the correspondence.
Sorry, what? I didn't hear you, Councillor Tour.
The item 11.2.2 is the correspondence, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a motion moved by Councillor Vicente to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor? Motion carries. Moving on, next is our consent motion. As per a process agreed to by council, the consent motion will be subject to a recorded vote. We have item 7.1, staff report regarding application to amend the zoning bylaw. Corsiac Urban Planning Inc., Mattamy Credit River Limited, 10201 Mississauga Road and 0 Mississauga Road, Ward 6. Anybody wish to hold? Seeing and hearing none, that is consent. Item 7.2 is to be held. Yeah, held, right? I agree. Yep. Sure. After, okay, no problem. 7.3, staff report regarding architectural control compliance review for ground-related residential development. That is in consent. 7.4, staff report regarding building and facade improvement grant applications, 8-28 Queen Street West and 29-39 Queen Street East, Wards 1 and 3. That is in consent. 8.1, minutes, Brampton Heritage Board, July 23rd, 2024. That is in consent. 11.1, correspondence from John Hyde, Policy Clerk and Manager, Toronto and Regional Conservation Authority, dated July 24th, 2024. That is in consent. I will have, before we have the clerk summarize the consent motion, just want to ensure, is there any declarations of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Seeing and hearing none. Pardon? Oh, Councilor Vicente?
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Need to declare conflict of interest on item 5.2. As I own a home in the area of the development permit system.
No problem. So we will, when we get to that item, notify you.
Thank
you.
you.
May leave the room. Thank you. And I will pass it on to the clerk to summarize the consent motion.
Through you, Chair. Included in the consent motion is item 7.1, staff report regarding application to amend the zoning bylaw. 7.3, a staff report regarding architectural control compliance review for ground-related residential development. 7.4, staff report regarding building and facade improvement grant applications. 8.1, minutes of the Brampton Heritage Board. And 11.1, correspondence from Joanne Hyde, Policy Clerk and Manager at the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority.
Thank you. And I have a motion moved by Councillor Power to approve the consent motion. All in favor? Motion carries. Moving on to statutory public meeting reports. First item is 5.1, staff presentation regarding application to amend the zoning bylaw. Weston Consulting on behalf of Mayfield Commercial Center Limited, 6029 Mayfield Road, Ward 10. I believe first I'm going to ask if any member of the public is here to hear this public meeting. Anybody want? Yep, we have one member. So we'll have the planner, Harjo Sarah, come and make a presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, members of committee, members of the public, and city staff. My name is Harjot Sra, and I'm the assigned planner to process and review the subject application. The purpose of this public meeting is to provide information to the public and seek feedback on the application filed by Weston Consulting on behalf of Mayfield Commercial Center Limited. Next slide, please. The subject property is located in Ward 10 at 6029 Mayfield Road. The nearest major intersection is Airport and Mayfield Road. Next slide, please. This map shows an overview of the subject property and the surrounding land uses. To the north, we have the city limit in the town of Caledon. To the south, we have an active development application, SPA 2021-0161 for a commercial plaza, and beyond which are lands designated for mixed-use employment uses. To the east are existing single detached residential houses. To the west, there's a future development land subject to the Airport Mayfield Tertiary Plan. And the site has access to Mayfield Road and Airport Road through the greater commercial plaza. Next slide, please. This slide shows an aerial photo of the site. The site will have access to Mayfield Road and Airport Road. Next slide, please. The following slides are from the site visit conducted. This is a view looking south from Mayfield Road. Next slide, please. This is also from the site visit conducted. This is looking east from Airport Road. Next slide, please. The development proposal seeks to facilitate the development of a two-story commercial building with ground floor retail and office uses on the second floor. There's a total net site area of 0.42 acres. There will be a gross floor area of 2,449.31 square meters and office space of 1,224.66 square meters with 12 independent office units. There's 29.3% building coverage and an additional 46 vehicle parking spaces in addition to the 870 spaces approved in the larger commercial plaza. This site does require an amendment to the zoning bylaw. Next slide, please. Sorry, not yet. Prior to finalizing recommendations to council, this application will be further evaluated for consistency with compliance to the Planning Act as amended, consistency with the provincial policy statement in conformity with the growth plan for the Golden Horseshoe as amended, conformity to the City of Brampton official plan, as well as the Vales of Castlemore North secondary plan. Next slide, please. The current official plan designation is business corridor. The business corridor designation permits a broad range of employment and employment-related uses. Certain lands within the business corridor designation are planned to accommodate a broad range of business, service, and institutional uses. An amendment to the official plan is not required for the proposed use. Next slide, please. On November 1st, 2023, Brampton Council adopted the City of Brampton's new official plan, Brampton Plan. The official plan provides a clear direction and principles to guide the city building, attaining its vision for the future and support the city to become a vibrant urban city for over 1 million people by 2051. The council adopted official plan has been approved by the region. The subject site for the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is designated mixed-use employment within Schedule 2 of the Brampton Plan. Next slide, please. The lands are within the Vales of Castlemore North secondary plan area and are designated highway service commercial. Permitted uses in the highway service commercial include retail establishments such as home improvement store, an automotive retail store with associated garden center, a supermarket, a restaurant, pharmacy, office, financial institution, and one gas bar with associated uses. An amendment to the secondary plan is not required. Next slide, please. The lands are zoned residential Hamlet 1. Permitted uses include a single detached dwelling, supporting housing, playground, commercial centers, place of worship, schools, and other accessory uses. An amendment to the zoning bylaw is required to facilitate the commercial building. Next slide, please. The applicant is proposing to amend the zoning bylaw from the current residential Hamlet 1 to service commercial to permit the two-story commercial building with the second floor office uses. Highlights of the proposed zone include a minimum rear yard depth of 6 meters, a minimum interior side yard depth to the east property line of 0 meters, and a minimum landscaped open space of 4.4 meters. Next slide, please. At this time, preliminary issues and considerations that will need to be addressed include ensuring that appropriate shared access arrangements can be accommodated for 11903 Airport Road and the adjacent and unassigned parcel at the southeast corner of Mayfield and Airport Road. There is currently an active pre-consultation meeting that has been held for this property. The need to review a tertiary plan to ensure a comprehensive development plan for the two adjacent properties at the southeast corner of Mayfield and Airport Road, and the appropriateness of the proposed land uses and whether there are any opportunities to incorporate additional office uses. These issues and others that are raised will be addressed through a future recommendation report. Next slide, please. Staff is hosting a statutory public meeting this evening to share information of the proposed city-initiated, the proposed zoning bylaw amendment on the subject properties and to provide an opportunity for members of public to express comments, perspectives, and opinions. Staff will advance the final recommendation report for council in the future based on details of the proposed development and applicable planning laws and policies while incorporating comments and considerations from community members, technical reviewers, and other stakeholders. Staff will also follow up with members of the public and other stakeholders who have spoken, written in, or advised of interest in monitoring this proposal. Next slide, please. This public meeting presentation will be available online as part of the Planning and Development Committee meetings shortly. The final recommendation report will be posted on the city's PDC meeting agenda in advance of the future meeting. For any questions or comments about this zoning bylaw amendment, please contact myself as my contact information is shown on screen. Next slide, please. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Do any members have any comments? Yep. Yeah, please.
I believe you have a delegation on the home, Amrit Singh.
I don't see 6.2. Oh, yes, we have Amrit Singh, sorry, I did not see that. Amrit Singh Ojla.
Just a question, if I can just from here. Is Western Consulting look still here?
I don't, yeah. But they're not signed up, so yeah, they can come. Okay, Amrit, can we go online and?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Yep.
Sir, I have one question. Sir, So where is the shared access, I say, to the property? Also, I say my second question is that where is the stormwater easement, I say, for the rainfall and also the, I said rainwater, runoff? And third, where's the sewage access and also the, I said the water main access as well? That's my question.
Okay.
I'd like to know where they are, sir.
Staff is going to respond.
Through the chair, thanks for the question. So we're happy to correspond through email, but last Thursday, I believe we met with members of the ownership group for this property, explaining how we've been working actively with the developer to secure a mutual access easement through the associated site plan for the commercial plaza. So we have defined the limits of where that access should be located to secure a long-term access. I would also note that both Airport and Mayfield Road are both regional roads, so while the city doesn't really have jurisdiction as to where that access may go if possible there, we have been working internal to the commercial plaza to secure a location for that site access. And then just to the water and sewage parts, we could get back to the applicant on that. We'd have to work with the region in a bit more detail as both are reviewed by regional staff.
Okay. Thank you. And we'll move on to Gurveer Singh.
Hi, my name is Gurveer Singh. I just have a little bit of notes that I put down, comments, questions, concerns, directed to
Staff.
Mr. Harkir Singh, you as well. I believe this is your ward as well, Airport Road and Mayfield Road. So I'm just going to read out what I wrote, just to summarize. My concerns are not only access regarding 11903 Airport Road, which is the very southeast corner of Airport Road and Mayfield Road. In my own opinion, I believe our corner property has been designated as a gateway to Brampton. And I believe it's one of the most important parcels of land in this entire plaza development as a whole. And I feel that it has not been paid any attention to or the attention it deserves in any tertiary planning and lacks any consideration to our future commercial development. In terms of a few questions directed to Weston Consulting and Hardra Sarah and any planners that are involved, we would like to know the way Minook Developments and Weston Consulting are building currently at the location on site. Are they following rules and regulations regarding leaving the space for our internal shared access? Is it displayed in an obvious manner following bylaw, safety, transportation rules and regulations? What I have noticed personally, as we own the corner and I frequently pass through those lands, the constructions of sidewalks, curbs, driveways, are they leaving room currently on site so we don't have to go through any deconstruction processes to access our lands? Is the access that we are told that we will be provided, is that a fire route access, which is required by law for transportation and safety? We've also been notified of a retaining wall being implemented by Weston Consulting and Minook Developments. Will we have to destroy any or all parts of this retaining wall or curb and sidewalk development when we start our commercial development and construction? With our shared access coming through this parcel in question and the connected parcel which is owned by Minook Developments, with the retaining wall being put along our property line, will that come down once our grading rises to ensure proper flow of stormwater? Since the stormwater engineers have shown the flow of stormwater north to south, will that retaining wall play the role of a curb in the near future? We were told many, many years ago, as we've owned these lands for 20 years now, that the city wants us to build together and look as one commercial plaza and not two separate developments, as this would benefit the city of Brampton and its entire look since we are the corner property. This retaining wall will ruin those chances and disrupt the cohesiveness of traffic flow and kind of put us separate from this plaza development. Why hasn't our internal access up to date been shown on any site plans or drawings? We haven't seen it, it hasn't been displayed, it's just been discussed verbally. That's also a concern. And how can we be sure that it will be implemented in the near future? Does the City of Brampton Planning and Development Committee have any knowledge as to where, again, I'm going to repeat on what Amrit said, where our stormwater connection, water connection, and sewage connection will be? Have they been accounted for in coordinate with Western Consulting and Minook Developments as this plaza as it concerns to our property? I'm requesting, once again, Planning and Development Committee to show and highlight the exact location of internal access to our lands in current site plans and future site plans before approving any zoning bylaw amendments and site plan approvals, which will directly or indirectly affect our lands. If we do not have answers to these questions without certainty, you should not be approving any rezoning or any site plans current or future, as it will affect the corner property becoming a commercial development property. I believe it's important to councilors as well and members of the community, as you don't want to see the corner of Airport Road and Mayfield remain an empty vacant land and who knows, turn into a dump. That would be an embarrassment. So we need this shown in site plans, current, past, future, giving us access so we can develop and be a commercial property as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I think staff would like to respond, and then I think I see Councillor Pleshy's hand up as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Chair, jump in first.
Yeah, sure. Chair?
Thank you, Chair. As this is a public meeting, and those are some fantastic questions, I'd request that staff reach out to the delegations and anybody else that is interested in this application to provide answers to all those questions. We don't have the staff report per se on hand, so I think once staff get through this, writing the report, at that time before it comes to council to make a decision, they should reach out to all the delegations that have asked some great questions here tonight. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, and I think our director is also going to relay and maybe highlight the difference between a public delegation and the staff report as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So yeah, staff are happy to meet further with the individuals delegating tonight about the matter and how their lands really can coexist in a great way with the lands that are subject to the development application tonight for the public meeting, as well as the larger lands that are subject to the site plan applications. We are reviewing all those types of details through that site plan and through this rezoning site as well, and we'll continue to work to ensure that all those infrastructure elements and traffic access details are worked out in a really complementary way for the subject site, and are happy to meet with the delegates to really share that in a clear and concise way. Happy to do that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Gurdeep Gill and Jalman Singh. You have to come up here, sir. And just state your name.
Thank you. Actually, most of the questions Gurdeep.
Sorry, before you start, which one, Gurdeep Singh or Jalman?
I'm Gurdeep Singh.
Gurdeep Singh, yeah. Okay.
So most of the question he covered it. I just want to make sure that it should be done, because we bought this. I came like 20 years ago to the third floor to see what the people signed their default lease sign to buy the property. He came third floor, they asked me, it's under study. I said, okay, study for what? It could be maybe development land. I said, okay. If it's not commercial, what it could be? They said, it should be commercial. We went to the property, the owner who was put the sign there, we bought it, whatever the price they asked, because it can be zoned. And it's 20 years now. And then after that, when we came to see that how we can develop it, we could change the zoning. They said, no, you have to work together with the owner behind you. It was not Manook at that time, it was a different owner. So 20 years now, different guy bought it, Manook bought the property. And even at that, when we tried to develop it, there was a legal description mistake done by the city staff or included people who were done that time. We have a letter from the previous time. There was a mistake in the legal description. It took us another 10, 15 years just to fix that problem, because it was not done properly. Some slivers were left over. And now in the same situation, we have to work together, by make sure that this time we should not have left out, we don't get the services or the accesses what we need to this property. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you. And your
Thank you.
comments have been noted for the public record. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gagan Gill? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Gagan. And lastly, I have Jenna Thibault. Yeah, you're the last one.
Good evening, members of council and members of the public. My name is Jenna Thibault. I'm a planner with Weston Consulting, and I am providing representation on behalf of the landowner. Just before I get into my presentation, I would like to note that a bit of what I'm discussing in my presentation should cover some of the questions that were asked this evening. Next slide, please. So the subject property is located near the intersection of Mayfield Road and Airport Road and is currently undeveloped. Next slide. The landowners also own the property delineated in black on this image here, which is directly adjacent to the subject property. These lands have been developed for a 17-building commercial plaza. It's important to note that rezoning approval was obtained for those lands in 2022 and that they're close to reaching final site plan approval. The intention for the development of the subject property is to act as an extension to this larger commercial plaza. Next slide. So this slide provides an overview of the site statistics which Harjot already went over, so I don't want to repeat anything that Harjot already said, so we can move on to the next slide. So this slide here provides the site plan and illustrates the two-story building proposed on Mayfield Road, which is identified as Building R. As can be seen by the site plan, the orientation and positioning of the building has been done in such a way that it integrates seamlessly with the adjacent development. Next slide. The landscape plan provides the overall landscape scheme for the site. A couple things I would like to highlight is that a generous landscape buffer is being proposed between Building R and Mayfield Road, and that there's also landscaping being proposed along the property boundaries near the building and as well near the parking area. Next slide. So a couple questions have come up this evening about a tertiary plan, and as part of this application, a tertiary plan was submitted. The intent of the tertiary plan is to illustrate a comprehensive and integrative development scheme for the block that considers the corner property as well as the lands to the south. One of the things that I'd like to highlight is that the tertiary plan illustrates that the development of the subject property does not in any way preclude the development of the adjacent holdout property. As can be seen by this plan, it is possible for successful development to occur on the corner property at the intersection of Mayfield and Airport Road, which is considered a gateway in the city of Brampton. I'd also like to highlight that this is only one possible development scenario and that there's other opportunities that could be available. In addition, there's been a lot of discussion this evening about a shared access. A shared access to Airport Road will be provided by my client for the corner property. An R plan depicting the limits of this easement has been prepared. It's been discussed and reviewed with city staff, and I did also recently send that R plan to one of the owners of the corner property just recently. So that has been shared with them. I would also like to note that as it relates to stormwater, an easement is intended to be provided to the corner property as it relates to stormwater. Next slide, please. So as it relates to the planning context, the proposed development conforms with the Brampton official plan policies, as Harjot has already gone over. Next slide. In terms of the secondary plan, the subject property is designated highway and service commercial. It is in conformity with all permitted uses and all pertinent policies. Next slide. A zoning bylaw amendment is required in order to rezone the site, and the intention is to rezone the site to an appropriate service commercial designation similar to how the adjacent lands were rezoned. Next slide. This slide here just highlights all the different reports, plans, and studies that were submitted with the application. Next slide. And to finish things off, I would just like to go over timelines and next steps. So all comments were received in the application in June of 2024, and at this point, the majority of all city departments and external agencies have signed off on the application. It is our intention to work through the remaining comments and to work with staff to finalize the enacting bylaw in order to bring a recommendation report with the enacting bylaw forward to council. Next slide. And with that, I conclude my presentation, and I thank council for your time this evening.
Thank you. And does anybody else have any comments? Not twice, just the first time. Does anybody else have any comments? Okay, so staff will take this input and then we will provide a final recommendation. In the meantime, you can contact the planner as well. And so that completes the statutory public meeting, and I will receive a motion as well. Okay, to receive
Yes, to receive the delegations
and
and
the correspondence.
the following correspondence as well.
We have 11.2 and 11.22, right? The one that Councillor Tour added. Yep, okay. So we have the motion on the floor, moved by Councillor Pleshy. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 5.2 is a staff presentation regarding application for a minor amendment to the development permit system, Blackthorn Development Corp. On behalf of Main Street Developments, Inc., 85 Sproul Drive, Ward 1. And we have a conflict of interest.
Yes, if I may.
Yeah.
If I could speak. Thank you. And just for clarification, I know I see some of the neighbors in the audience. The conflict arises out of the fact that I own a home on the same block as this development, and that's why I'm recusing myself now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll wait for you to leave the room. Okay, and do we have members here waiting to hear the presentation? I believe we have residents here. Are you waiting to hear the presentation for this? Yep, okay. We can get started. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee, members of the public, and city colleagues. My name is Megan Fernandez, and I am the assigned planner to process and review the subject application. The purpose of this public meeting is to provide information to the public and seek feedback on the application filed by Blackthorn Development Corporation on behalf of Main Street Developments, Inc. In addition to the public meeting for the application, I would also note that a report providing staff's recommendation on this application for Planning Committee's consideration is also on tonight's agenda. All comments received tonight will be considered in the deliberations on those recommendations, and staff will respond to comments through the discussion in the associated report. Next slide, please. Thank you. The subject property is located in Ward 1, municipally known as 85 Sproul Drive. The site is located at the southeast corner of Sproul Drive and Main Street. Next slide, please. This map shows an overview of the subject site within this property and surrounding land uses. To the north are commercial and residential land uses permitted within the development permit system. To the south are commercial and residential land uses permitted within the DPS bylaw and institutional uses. To the east are residential and institutional uses. To the west are commercial, existing low-density residential uses, and a future residential development. Next slide, please. This site shows a further overview of the site's surrounding uses and developments. Next slide, please. The following slide shows photos from the site visit conducted on June 6th, 2024. Next slide, please. Thank you. The applicant has submitted an application for minor amendment to the Main Street North Development Permit System. The application is to facilitate the development of a 5-story mixed-use building with 24 residential units and commercial uses on the ground floor. A total of 16 residential parking spaces and 5 visitor parking spaces are included in the proposal. The applicant has also submitted a development permit system application to facilitate the proposed development. Through the review of the DPS application, minor amendments to 3 of the DPS provisions are required to facilitate this proposal. The first is to permit a maximum building height of 18.2 meters. The second is to exempt angular planes from the street frontages of Sproul, Main, and the rear property line. The third is to exempt from the mechanical penthouse to the angular plane and setback requirements as set out in Schedule 6 of the DPS bylaw. Next slide, please. Thank you. In addition to this public meeting, a report providing staff's recommendation on this application for Planning Committee's consideration is also on tonight's agenda. Staff are recommending the approval of the application and have evaluated the development application for compliance with the Planning Act as amended, consistency with the provincial policy statement, and conformity to the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe as amended, and conformity to the in effect City of Brampton official plan, Downtown Brampton Secondary Plan, Area 7. Staff will be prepared to respond to any public comments at this meeting and provide advice to Planning Committee as needed on staff's recommendations as related to the comments. Next slide, please. The subject site for the proposed minor amendment is designated as Central Area in the City of Brampton's official plan. The Central Area designation permits freestanding or mixed-use development that include a range of retail and service activities, residential uses, entertainment and cultural uses, institutional uses, high-density employment, and major transit infrastructure. An amendment to the official plan is not required. Next slide, please. On November 21st, 2023, the City of Brampton Council adopted the City of Brampton's new official plan, Brampton Plan, which provides clear direction and principles to guide city building, including its vision for future and the support for the city to become a vibrant urban city. The subject site for the proposed minor amendment is designated as mixed use within Schedule 2 designations of the Brampton Plan and community area within Schedule 1A city structure of the Brampton Plan. Next slide, please. The subject lands are within the Downtown Brampton Secondary Plan area and are designated Main Street North Development Permit System area. Council adopted the Main Street North Development Permit System in 2012 to streamline the planning approval process while facilitating redevelopment opportunities for lands generally along Main Street North between Church Street and Vaudin Street in downtown Brampton. It is the goal of the Main Street North Development Permit System area to protect and enhance the character of the district and to encourage its transition into a diverse, livable, safe, thriving, and attractive component of the historic downtown precinct and the city as a whole. In July 2023, staff prepared a recommendation report proposing a new minor amendment process as an interim measure that will provide more flexibility and allow the DPS bylaw to better meet the planning objectives of the area. Next slide, please. The subject lands are designated as Central Mixed Use 3 Development Permit System within the DPS bylaw. Permitted uses in the Central Mixed Use 3 zone outlined in Section 4.3.1 includes A, non-residential uses, B, residential uses, and C, other uses. A minor amendment is required to the development permit system to facilitate the proposed 5-story mixed-use building. Next slide, please. This slide provides key issues and considerations staff reviewed in evaluating the minor amendment application. The first being land use compatibility and the DPS framework. The subject property is located along Main Street North and within the boundaries of the Main Street North Development Permit System. The current DPS policies permit similar types of mixed-use developments. Staff are looking to ensure that the proposed development is compatible with the character of the existing Main Street North context. The second component is building heights and angular plane. The applicant has proposed a modest increase in building height to accommodate the mechanical penthouse and also seeking exemptions from the angular plane requirements. Staff are looking to ensure that the site-specific changes to accommodate the 5-story mixed-use building are appropriate given the context of the surrounding area through the minor amendment process to meet the planned vision of the Main Street corridor. These issues and others that are raised will be addressed in the recommendation report, also on tonight's agenda. Next slide, please. Staff are hosting a public meeting this evening in order to share information of the proposed minor amendment to the subject site and provide an opportunity for members to express comments, perspectives, and opinions. Staff have reviewed the application, including technical comments, and have prepared a recommendation report recommending approval of the application. Issues raised will be addressed in the recommendation report. Staff will contact and follow up with those residents who have spoken, written in, or advised of an interest in monitoring this proposal. Next slide, please. For more information on the proposal, the applicant's submission materials, including architectural drawings, plans, and supporting studies, are publicly accessible through the city's brand plan online portal. Please type in the file number of the application in the required field, which in this case is OZS 2024-0038. This brings up the file page, where by clicking the file info type, you will be able to view all the drawings and the documents associated with this development application. Next slide, please. This public meeting presentation will be available online as part of the Planning and Development Committee meeting minutes shortly. For any questions or comments about this application, please contact myself, my manager, or the applicant, Maurizio Regato, who is representing Blackthorn Development Corp. The corresponding contact info are also shown on screen. Next slide, please. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. And is anybody here from the applicant? Okay, I don't see anybody. Would any members of the public like to state their comments for the record? Okay, ask once. I think Councillor Santos has her hand up. But no members of the public. So Councillor Santos, we'll have you move it and you can make your comments.
Thank you. Happy to move it. Wondering if staff could just put back on the screen that third last slide that shows residents where to follow the progress of the application online. I just want to make sure, that's it. Access more information. That's the one I just want to make sure residents are aware of. Thank you so much. Happy to move it.
Thank you. And so we have a motion on the screen, moved by Councillor Santos. All in favor? Motion carries. Could somebody tell Councillor Vicente he could come back? Okay, moving on. We have 5.3, staff presentation regarding application to amend the official plan and zoning bylaw, Glenn Shinar and Associates Inc., on behalf of 840966 Ontario Limited, 8331 Heritage Road, Ward 6. Is there anybody in the public who wants to hear this presentation? Okay, thank you. So we'll have Nazar Mahmood come forward and make her presentation. Here's the presentation. Sorry.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, members of the public, and city colleagues. My name is Nasir Mahmood, and I'm the planner assigned to process and review the subject application. The purpose of this public meeting is to provide information to the public and seek feedback on the application filed by Glenn Shinar and Associates Inc. on behalf of 840966 Ontario Limited. Next slide, please. The subject property is located in Ward 6 and is municipally known as 8331 Heritage Road. The site is located on the east side of Heritage Road, north of Steeles Avenue West. Next, please. Slide, please. This map shows the larger area context of the property, which shows that it is surrounded by residential subdivisions to the north, east, and south, and agricultural uses to the west, and industrial and commercial uses to the south. Next, please. Slide, please. This map shows an overview of the subject site and the surrounding land uses. To the north is Valley Land, draft approved Ashley Oaks Homes plan of subdivision. To the south is agricultural Valley Land, and again Ashley Oaks Homes plan of subdivision and industrial uses. To the east is Valley Land, Ashley Oaks Homes of plan of subdivision, and to the west is Heritage Road, and beyond is Maple Lodge Farms. Next slide, please. This I think there's a slide before this. Yeah. So this slide shows an aerial photo of the site. The site has an access to Heritage Road as well as the future Brasstown Valley Trail. Next slide, please. So this site was inspected on May 22nd, 2024, when the pictures on this slide were taken. The pictures showed the site view looking east of Heritage Road. Next slide, please. The applicant has submitted an application to amend the official plan and zoning bylaw to facilitate a commercial or retail plaza comprising 8 1- to 2-story commercial or office buildings and surface parking. The access is to be from Heritage Road and Brasstown Valley Trail. Next slide, please. Prior to finalizing recommendations and advancing an associated final report to Council, this development application will be further evaluated for compliance with the Planning Act, consistency with the Principal Policy Statement, and conformity with the Growth Plan, and also conformity with the City of Brampton Official Plan and Brampton West Secondary and Bram West Secondary Plan. Next slide, please. Subject lands are designated residential and open space in Schedule A, general land use designations in the City of Brampton's 2020 official plan. An amendment to the official plan is required to facilitate the proposed development. Next slide, please. The subject lands are designated mixed-use neighborhoods, National Heritage System in Schedule 2 designations of the Brampton plan. The permitted uses in the mixed-use designation include a mix of residential, including affordable and rental housing options, commercial, institutional, office, restaurant, and service uses, with the exception of motor vehicle and self-storage uses. The permitted uses in the neighborhood designation include residential uses, community services or facilities, parks and open space, emergency facilities, places of worship, daycare centers, long-term care facilities, motor vehicle, commercial. An amendment to the official plan is required. Next slide, please. These lands are within the Bram West Secondary Plan and designated convenience commercial, valley land, low and medium density residential, and special policy area 2, 12, and 16. The permitted land uses in the convenience commercial designation include small-scale retail stores, supermarkets or specialty stores, junior departmental stores, pharmacies, restaurants, and service establishments. In the low or medium density designation, the permitted uses are residential, single detached dwellings, semi-detached dwellings, and townhouses dwellings. Next slide, please. The proposed official plan amendment will amend Schedule A2 retail structure to extend the convenience retail designation to the easterly part of the property and redesignate the southerly part from convenience retail to neighborhood retail. It will also amend Schedule SP 40 in brackets A to redesignate the easterly part of the property from low to medium density residential to convenience commercial, and the southerly part from convenience commercial to neighborhood commercial. Next slide, please. The property is currently zoned future development. The future development zone does not permit the proposed land use. An amendment to the zoning bylaw is therefore required. The proposed zoning bylaw amendment will rezone the property from current future development zone to commercial 3 zone and include appropriate provisions and restrictions to facilitate the proposed commercial zone, the commercial plaza. Next slide, please. At this time, the preliminary issues that will need to be addressed include coordination with the adjacent Ashley Oaks Homes plan of subdivision and the southerly property for traffic and access purposes. Compatibility of the land uses within the commercial plaza with the adjacent Maple Lodge Farms operations will be also looked into. And lastly, land dedication for Heritage Road widening would be required. Next slide, please. Staff is hosting the statutory public meeting to share information of the proposed official plan and zoning bylaw amendments on the subject site and provide an opportunity for members of the public to express comments, perspectives, and opinions. Staff will continue to review the applicant's planning rationale and supporting plans, drawings, and technical comments. And staff will advance a final recommendation report for Council's decision in the future based on the details of the proposed development and applicable planning laws and policies while incorporating comments and considerations from community members, technical reviewers, and other stakeholders. Staff will also follow up with the members of the public and other stakeholders who have spoken, written in, or advised of an interest in monitoring this project. Next slide, please. For more information on the development proposal, the applicant's submission materials, including architectural plans, drawings, and supporting studies, are publicly accessible through the city's Brand Plan online portal. Interested members of the public can type the file number of the application in the required field, which in this case is OZ-2024-0031. This will bring up the file page, whereby clicking the File Information tab, they will be allowed to view all drawings and documents associated with this development application. Next slide, please. This public meeting presentation will be available online as part of the Planning and Development Committee meeting minutes shortly. The final recommendation report will be posted on the city's PDC meeting agenda in advance of the future meeting. For any questions or comments about this development application, please contact myself, my manager, Mana Zavilat, or the applicant, Zachariah Bishard. who is representing Glenschnar and Associates Inc. The corresponding contact information is shown on the screen. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you. And is the applicant here? Would they like to say anything?
Yeah, I have nothing to add right now.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, you don't have anything to add, okay. And then I see we have a delegation by Murray Cook.
Yes, right here.
Yep, go ahead.
You want to add him first? Or?
No, he said he doesn't have anything to add, yeah. Thank you, just state your name and you have 5 minutes.
Oh, great. My name's Murray, M-U-R-A-Y, Cook, C-O-O-K, and I'm resident 8197 Heritage Road. I'd like to start with a compliment to Nasser Mahmoud, who we just heard from, who in the public information sheet that went out to the neighborhood, it shows the wrong day and wrong date. And so when I called into the city last week, he was on holidays and called in from on his holidays to correct it. So I'd like to thank him for that. In brevity, I won't go into the history of the 35 years that we've been having an interesting relationship with the city of Brampton. We have 2 acres there, a 1,250 square foot house, 1,250 square foot, that's pretty small. And we have, over all those years, faced the fact that we've been threatened with expropriation for a regional dump, which we fought. We've been attended 3 public meetings in which we saw a public bike path through the middle of our living room and no consultation. Over the years, our great Ward 6 councillor has helped us on many occasions, and one of the more significant ones is when Amazon decided to build their 1,000 truck a day facility across the road from us. Part of the negotiations, which the councillor was part of and helped with, including the city manager at that time, was the access to the Amazon facility across the road, trying to reduce the impact of all those trucks every day. So part of that deal, and this falls back to the relationship with this proposal, is that Heritage Road is limited to, at the south of my property, to no transport trucks, delivery vehicles only going north. The reason for that, and as well, any vehicles coming out of Amazon that are trucks can only turn south, not north, as they try to accelerate, and again, no noise situation with our home. What we want to bring to the attention of this committee and the planners is that we would hope that they would keep that restriction in place, that no semis going any further north, as it's posted now, from my property in front of our going north to this new proposal. We hope that if they do semis, they bring it off the other adjacent road. Second item is very simple. We had an agreement put together by late John Rogers in the city of Brampton on the adjacent lands owned by the city of Brampton, now becoming a snow dumping facility. Part of that agreement was we agreed to what the berm would be, the layout, and the city has recently changed their mind and said that they're not building the office building that they were going to build adjacent to my home. Part of that, unfortunately, was that we were going to be able to tap into the septic, or get rid of our septic tank and go to the sanitary sewers. We are disappointed that the city has changed their situation on that, and we would respectfully request that in terms of this proposed site being serviced, that you consider bringing the sanitary service along Heritage Road in front of our property. That's a pretty simple request based on the fact that we thought, an agreement with the city on the adjacent land. Other than the fact that staff has been always very friendly and easy to get along with, And we're all here on a beautiful summer's evening where we all would probably want to be someplace else. I respectfully ask the planning and engineering and our counselor yet again to help us out. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Does any other member of the public have any comments to make? Okay, we'll have a motion to receive the presentation and the delegation. I'll have it moved by Councillor Pleshy. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to 5.4 is a staff presentation regarding application to amend the zoning bylaw and draft plan of subdivision Glenn Shinar and Associates Inc. on behalf of Goreland Development Inc. 10877 the Gore Road, Ward 10. Is anybody here to see or hear this presentation? Okay, I will ask once more. 5.4 staff presentation regarding 10877 the Gore Road, Ward 10. Is anybody here to hear or see the presentation? Okay, I don't see so. Okay, perfect. So we'll have a motion to receive the staff presentation by Councillor Vicente. All in favor? Motion carries. Moving on to 5.5 is a staff presentation regarding application to temporarily amend the zoning bylaw. SGL Planning and Design Inc. on behalf of Countryside Real Estate Holdings Inc. Pearl Builders, 0 Countryside Drive, Ward 10. Is anybody here to hear the presentation? Okay.
Mr. Chair, I represent SGL Planning and Design Inc. So as per the last attendees, I was just here making a delegation request.
Yeah.
If any questions.
Thank you so much. Is there anybody from the public here to hear it? So if you don't mind, we'll receive your delegation and move on. Okay, so we have a motion by Councillor Power to receive the delegation and staff presentation. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay, moving on, public delegations. We are at delegation from Bill Baring, item 6.5, Brampton resident regarding second entrances in new developments. I believe you sent some slides, so we'll pull them up, and then here you go. And you have 5 minutes, and you will be notified when you have 1 minute left. You may begin. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Member. My name is Bill Baring. Last name is Baring, B-A-R-I-N-G. I'm here as a concerned citizen of City of Brampton. I live in the same neighborhood, actually. I just moved in there, and I noticed this picture, which shows about 3-inch difference between the two roofs up there. And that shows how close these detached homes are on the boundary line. If we can go to the next slide. So this is the alley between the two detached homes, which is exactly the 48-inch in width. If we can go to the next slide. So it shows exactly the 48-inch there, and also both of the homes in front of the side entrance has been made by the builder on one house. There's a mechanicals on the other side of the house. So that shows exactly 48-inch, and they, just to make it legal on that entrance, they have tucked in the both side of the houses, just to show that they match with the bylaws. If we can go to the next slide. So the entrance, it shows side entry to the next house number 28. Then also basement entrance, basement window, along with the mechanical AC and all that mechanism of the neighboring property. If we can go to the next slide. From the wall, exactly their boundary line is 24-inch. That shows in there. If we can go to the next slide. So downspout, if we can measure the boundary from the downspout, is only about 17-inch left. If we need to walk through there or carry anything there, well, that won't be possible if there's a fence from the neighboring property. So if we can go to the next slide. So this is the major issue. Like this is a stretcher which being used by the ambulance, and the size of the stretcher is 76 inch by 22.5 inch and 76 inch in height. So if there is a second dwelling built on that house and some emergency comes up and this stretcher has to go in, and also two people carries this stretcher, one at the front, one at the back, which need about another 24 inch of each side to move around this stretcher. So if we can go to the next slide. So the question is, how did this get passed? And how builder built this? And how did the inspector didn't look into it? How builders are going over our bylaws and they're trying to manipulate all that and minimizing the space between the houses to make it, and who will be held responsible for this if any mishap happens there? Because properties, third property from that property is already legal dwelling has been built with the same side of the entrance. So in that whole neighborhood, there is about 20 property that I have identified that have the same issue going on. So that's my concern. Thank you.
Bill. Thank you for your delegation. I see Councillor Tour. Please stay there, Bill. Councillor Tour has his hand up. Councillor Tour.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I just want to say thank you, Mr. Burring, for coming tonight and delegating on this. Most times at planning committee, we have residents come and delegate about a new development coming forward. This is the first time I'm seeing someone that's talking about an existing development and potential issues with it. So thank you for taking the time on a Monday evening. If I can, through you, Mr. Chair, I'd like to move a motion to refer this delegation to staff to investigate what's happened in this case. I'm not fully aware of it either. And to stay in contact with Mr. Burring and perhaps our offices as well to let us know, what the situation is and what can be done as a remedy.
Okay, we have a referral back to staff. And the director has just given his contact information as well. We'll have it moved by Councillor Tour. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, Bill, for coming to delegate. Next item is a delegation from Such Inc. regarding Nawas Living. I'll ask the delegates to come up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name before you get started.
Okay, Sandeep Yashpal.
My name is Donnie Doe.
Can you read again?
Good evening, members of the council and community. As I said, my name is Donnie Doe and this is Sandeep Yashpal. We're honored to present Nawas Living, which is a non-for-profit organization. This initiative has been put together by members of the Sikh community in Brampton, focusing on developing rapid, affordable housing solutions. Our mission is not to only build affordable housing quickly, but to also provide units that are family-sized while prioritizing sustainability.
Could we skip 2 slides? Actually, one more.
One more. Thanks.
Yeah. So as Daniel was saying, Nawas Living aims to bring affordable housing to the city of Brampton. We also aim to bring our unit mix to be family-sized units. We're looking to build housing through modular means, using sustainable technologies and green construction practices. And we think that, the city of Brampton is a perfect city in the Greater Toronto area to provide meaningful, affordable housing, and meaningful meaning larger sized units that can be that fit a need that aren't currently available in housing in Toronto. Oh, next slide.
Next slide, please. So we have 2 key projects that are central to our initiative. Project 1 is totally shovel ready and will be ready for occupancy in 2.5 years. It will feature 90 units, each averaging 1,077 square foot. Both projects, Project 1 and Project 2, will have 30% of units available at CMHC affordable rents, and 100% of the units in both projects
will feature below market rents. So for project 2, we will be 4 years till occupancy, and we will offer 100 units, averaging 838 square feet. And this project is set to begin construction within 12 to 18 months. So by this, you could see that we're proposing to partner with projects that are through their entitlement phase, which allows for us to construct quickly. And our main goal is to bring this affordable housing, as Sunny mentioned, to those who would not otherwise have the opportunity to access units like this. And moreover, like he mentioned as well, a major portion of the unit mix is made up of family-sized units, which will become an asset for the community in years to come.
Yeah, so the next slide, please. So on our side, Nawas Living side, we've done a lot of the due diligence on the projects. We've done underwriting of the projects with CMHC, and created development pro formas to make these type of projects work in the city of Brampton. And we just think that we're trying to do this as a not-for-profit to create a positive narrative in our community and a positive narrative for this city in housing. We think it could be something cool, something special. Modular housing is something that's important, but then pairing it with the size of the units and sustainability is what our goal is.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So as we continue our work, we're asking for the support from the City of Brampton to help us bring these quality, affordable housing units and projects in general to fruition. We respectfully request that this delegation be referred to staff to facilitate better coordination and ongoing collaboration with the City and CMHC. Thank you.
Thank you, and I don't see any comments, so I'll comment. I think this is an interesting opportunity. Faith-based organizations building housing for all. I've seen this at Brimley Christian Fellowship, which I had the opportunity to work at, and I know the community owns a lot of land here, and if we can utilize that for affordable housing for Bramptonians, I think would be good. So we do have a referral motion back to staff. I'm happy to move it, and all in favor? All right, motion carries. Thank you so much. Moving on, we have staff presentations have all been completed. We could go directly to 9.1. Okay. Yeah, this is a discussion item at the request of Councillor Tour regarding a request to reinstate ministerial zoning order for Gorband Marg Charitable Trust and Gorband Servar. Councillor Tour, do you wish to speak to this motion and maybe add context?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. Some of the context is already there in the motion on how this MZO came to be in the past. And we had a previous discussion here at the council table on, finding ways that the MZO could be reinstated at the site. The site is owned by the Gorband Marg Charitable Trust. It is for not-for-profit use and a community use. So it would be a good asset to the City of Brampton. They've gone through some of these challenges, and I know City of Brampton Council has shown their support again and again, very recently in the past. We had a motion that basically to write to the ministry asking them to work with us on this, or I think we had delegated the work to our planning department to work with the ministry. However, you see this motion in front of you here. This is a more concrete ask on in communicating with the province and the ministry.
Thank you. And
that MZO will be reinstated at the site. Yeah, and that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the motion on the floor, moved by Councillor Tour. All in favor? Motion carries. Moving on, correspondence was complete, so I'll move on to Councillor question period. Do any members of council have any questions? Hearing and seeing none. Public question period. Do any members of the public have any questions? Hearing and seeing none. We have no closed session, so I have a motion moved by Councillor Power for adjournment. All in favor? Motion carried. We are adjourned, and we will be back at 8:30. 8:30 for a special council meeting to ratify the minutes. Thank you so much.